Another layer of control has just been introduced into the realm of AI video. You can now add in several images into your video timeline, which allows you to more closely direct what it is that you're trying to generate. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how this tool works so you can try it out for yourself. It's called Any Frame to Video, and it's on Dzine AI, who are the sponsor of this video. So in order to get started, I have a project here with a few images I've created. They form a basic sequence, zooming out from the eyes of a man in a karate uniform before he actually turns and gets into a karate stance and throws a punch. What I'm going to do is hover over one image and place it to the canvas. And then I need to do that with the other images I've created for this sequence. And now we have those images on the canvas. You can see over here my layers. I've put them all in here. So what I can do is where it says AI image down the bottom, I can click on the camera icon for AI video. And to move on from there, we're going to move away from start and end frame to any frame. So when I click that, I can now start to add in my images. I click on that button there, choose an image to start with, like this one here, and it will pop that onto the timeline. I can grab this little pointer to move it back, and then I'm going to click here to add another. So zoomed out to the face. A little bit further back, I click here to show him zoomed all the way out. And then we're going to add another frame where he turns. Then our final frame, him throwing the punch. Now we also have an end frame over here. And you notice I've added this in here, but what we need is actually to have an end frame. So I'm going to actually shut that down, then click right at the very end and choose that image again and use this as my end frame by adding it at the very end of the timeline, and I hit confirm. Now at the moment it's set to 720p, 5 seconds. I'm going to go 1080p, move that back. And at any point, if I want to come back in, I can click the edit button. I can move this along so that way we don't have this big gap along here. What I can do is even just move this over and spread it out a little bit so we get a bit of a slower zoom if we want to. Maybe we want it to take 2 seconds to zoom, so we go 1, 2, and then he slowly turns off to the side and drops down into a karate punch. So we want to make sure we put these on the timeline in the positions we want them to be triggered. I click confirm. I'm going to type in a prompt. I briefly describe what I want to see. I want to make sure I focus on the man standing still and focus on him turning before he throws a punch at the end of the video. When I'm ready, I submit that. You can see here what we get is pretty close to the mark. However, adding that extra frame in on the zoom kind of ruined that. So you can see it's done exactly what I've told it to do. Now I just gave it a little bit too much information with that additional frame, but I want to keep that in the video to show you that like with any other AI tool, sometimes you need to make little adjustments to perfect it, and you're rarely going to get it on the first go. But a pretty impressive first try as far as I'm concerned. So if I come back out and simply click to edit this, I can edit any one of these. I can hover over this, hit the little X, and try to get one solid zoom out to the full body. So I hit confirm. And then I can always submit that again to try that out. But otherwise, you can see how this tool really works at taking each frame and kind of landing there for each shot. So you can see how we've been able to step out that sequence to get what we're after. But the thing is, does it really make a big difference if we're just going to use that as opposed to a start and an end frame? Well, I thought I'd test it out. So to show you what I mean, I've clicked start and end frame because we have the first and last frame from our sequence, but nothing in the middle. And those middle sections really do make a difference. Even though we use the exact same prompt, when I submit that, Kling 3 gives us this video, which looks quite good, but it cuts out that middle movement that we really wanted to isolate. So now you have an idea conceptually of basically how the tool works. It allows you to take a bit more control throughout the video as opposed to simply rolling the dice with start to end frame and kind of hoping it understands what you're asking for. By nailing down the images, we get to nail down what appears within the video itself. So this creates a bit of a lower barrier to being able to create with AI because we go from something that is random through to something that is controllable because we do have a bit more control over the images and we can more carefully select them before we start creating our video. And again, this is perfect for storytelling, even if you're just doing a short social media video or for clips in a short film. This really adds a lot more control to what you're trying to do. Now, while we've only touched on the basic functionality of this tool, I want to go a little bit deeper and show you not only how to use the tool a little bit better, but also how to set up the images so that way you get more control over what you're actually inputting into this tool. I choose NanoBanana 2 because I believe it's the best model out there at the moment, so I'll show you how that all works. So one of the best ways to set up your images is actually to generate them using NanoBanana 2. So if I go to the drop down here, before I start my project, I can choose NanoBanana 2 from the drop down. I can then type out what image I'd like to see or even upload an image I'd like to edit. But for this, I'm going to say, a girl standing in a park with a white cat next to her on the ground, 3D cartoon style. I've got 16:9. I submit that. And then we get this image here. Now we can reprompt and make edits if we're not happy with this. But for now, I'm going to add it to my canvas so that we can add it into our video. And so then if I want to make more changes, I'm going to come back over here and also go to Chat Editor. Because maybe I want the cat to jump up into her arms. So what I'm going to say is move the cat so she's being held by the girl. And you can see our image is here. But I also want to point out that we have a few things like some people in the background. So what I might say also is change the position of the characters in the background. And I submit that. And then what we get is this. The people in the background have moved and the cat is now being cuddled by the girl. So now again, I add that to the canvas and I can go to the chat editor. Keeping in mind, I can come back to these other images at any point and edit from there. But maybe I decide I want something else to happen in this scene. So again, I'm going to highlight this and instead I'll say, have the girl standing up whilst cuddling the cat with a big smile. And still we need to account for some of the background movement. So I'll add on the end of that. Have the two people on the bridge standing beside the girl and remove the three blurred out people in the far background near the tree. Keeping in mind, you can spend a lot more time in these images, but again, I come over and I submit that. And again, we've been able to evolve that image, go to the chat editor. Maybe I decide I want to change the angle to show a little bit more. So I'll go change the angle of this image to a high angle, pull back on the whole scene, have all three people laughing with eyes closed. And then they've given us this image here. However, it hasn't actually changed the angle. Now, sometimes you're going to get this issue when it comes to using NanoBanana. So what I do now is I go to Chat Editor here and I simplify the instructions. Change the angle of the shot so we are looking down on the characters, make it a high angle shot. And you may need to just adjust some of your images as you go. It's just part of working with AI. But I submit that and now what we get is on that higher angle. And so we can start to work with that image again. So I want to change that angle, and then maybe what I decide to do for the next shot is to zoom out a little bit more slowly and have the cat sort of jump out of her hands again. So again, I go to Chat Editor. I'm going to say, pull back and extend the background of this image so we are zoomed out to 50% size, have the three people looking down, smiling as the cat is on the ground in front of them. And then we've been able to generate a nice finishing shot right there. So naturally, we come back down and we follow that same process as earlier, switching over to any frame and adding in our images. And this is why it's good to add them onto the canvas in order, because I can just simply start from one side and add that in. And I just simply add the rest in order. And that zooming out at the end is probably going to take a little longer, as is the actual children crossing the bridge. But I feel like the cat jumping into her hands is going to be much quicker. Now, 5 seconds for this to happen is pretty short. We're going to keep that at that for now. But I also want to point out that if you want to just switch frames around, it's hard to see with this image, but there's a little arrow here. If I click that, it'll actually move and swap with the frame next to it. So I can actually swap back. There's a right arrow and left arrow. I can actually just click these buttons to swap frames and of course hover to view and make sure I'm picking the right image in the right position. I'm going to click confirm. And this is where it's pretty handy. If I go 1080p, 10 seconds, if I go back in and hit the edit button here, it's automatically spread them out the same sort of amount across the timeline. And keep in mind, if you want to clear this and start again, just hit the clear button. But now what I need to do is describe that movement in order. So I'm going to say, and so going from the first to the second frame, the girl looks down at a cute cat. She kneels and the cat jumps into her hands. She then stands up and two kids from the bridge behind her walk up and stand next to the girl. The camera then moves up to a high angle and zooms out as the cat jumps back onto the ground. Now, it's good to describe this as best you can, but the frames are a really good guideline to sort of make sure this happens. So now we have all those instructions and everything set up. Again, I'm going to submit. And it becomes quite clear we've been able to take a lot more control over how that video plays out by controlling the frames, even down to the camera angle as well as the movement. Now keep in mind, we can add up to 6 images. I've got 5 images here. But if I close that down, what I can do is I can even just simply remove this prompt and submit that without a prompt and see how it actually behaves based off the images alone. So let's do that to compare and see how well it turns out. And it all starts off very similar. So the frames are definitely a powerful mixture, but without the prompt in there to describe what we want to see, we get a few little things like this fade here. So that's really what I love about this whole tool is it's a lot of what you see is what you get type sort of interface. So that way you can really take your time if you're having trouble getting something that you're after. Now this allows you to kind of balance your creativity with a little bit more stability. And of course, there's a whole bunch of different ways you can actually use this tool if you want to maximize what you get out of it. So you can see how we can control actions, even add effects, and even take control of camera angles and zoom in and out with this tool. Even take an image and use NanoBanana to introduce a new character, and then pop that image into the sequence, and you can have that character enter the scene and create something pretty cool that way. If you want some kind of choreography or anything where you want very specific movement in certain places, this is definitely the tool that you want to use in order to take more control of that in between when generating your videos. And of course, then you combine all these things, like zooming in on a face and then having something change, so some kind of action. And then you can also go ahead and then change the lighting and further encourage some action in that video. And so you can start to see how you can use something like NanoBanana 2 to change camera angles, add actions or lighting, and pretty much anything that falls under those three main categories of movement in a video, you have control over with this tool. But a few things to be aware of are some tips, and that is, obviously, the more complex the movement, the harder it's going to be for the AI to actually sort of create those frames in between, and it might take you a few more tries. And again, you want to keep trying several times if you're not getting what you're after. But on top of that, if the space between frames is shorter, that is also a more complex movement. So remember to keep things simpler. You're going to get easier results. Keep the movements a little bit more tailored if you're having trouble getting what you're after. But on top of that, the good news about using frames in these videos is if you add a frame at the end of a video that you generate, you can take that exact same frame, and when you go to create the next video, use it as a start frame, and you can then start to stitch videos together to get even longer sequences out of this tool. For example, with this video here, when he jumps up to kick, there's actually a cross into a new video where he turns into a gorilla. And if you also find that you're getting little cuts or fades, it may be worth mentioning something like no cuts or single continuous shot in order to let the AI know that you don't want the shot broken up. These are all little things you can try to improve your results and get a little bit more control over the final video. But beyond all that, don't forget you also have all of the Dzine AI image editing tools available here. They have their own image editor, background extender, cropping tools, everything you can find, you can actually use in Dzine to set up all of your images. And beyond that, you still have all the other video tools, including lip sync and other tools to sort of add to that. If you have a video you've created with any frame, upload that into video to lip sync to add in some dialogue, or even go in and use the video upscale tool if you really want to take the video to the next level. So those are all available within Dzine AI, and you can use them pretty freely to take more control over the images that you use in this tool. But otherwise, that is the video for today, guys. I highly recommend that you go and check that out. It's a great tool. Like I said, having more control over your videos by being able to nail down those images is a massive play in control and stability with your creativity. So check out Dzine. There's a link in the description below. But otherwise, thanks for watching. Hope to see you again soon, and have a great day.